to do that. All right, we're recording. So thank you for joining us on today's webinar. I'm Gayle Zientek. This is my friend Chip Barkell in Toronto. Chip, go ahead and introduce yourself a little bit and tell people about you.
I've been a realtor for about 4 years in Toronto. I work with Chestnut Park Real Estate. We're an independent boutique real estate company. A lot of people think we're just high-end properties, but we sell everything. I've been using SendOutCards for, I guess, half of the 4 years that I've been a realtor with tremendous success. But I'll tell you more about that later.
All right. And I'm Gayle Zientek. I am the broker owner of Network Team Homes Realty in Portage, Michigan. My husband and I own our small brokerage. We have 3 other agents that work at our office, and I've been using SendOutCards for the last 11 years, and I'm excited to share with you today on our call. It's at the top of the hour. Chip, we're going to go ahead and get started. I will share my screen, and we'll start the PowerPoint and kick it off. Just making sure you see my screen okay?
I do, yes.
Okay, I am going to mute myself, Chip, and then I'm going to
hit play and then give me control of the screen. Well, thank you very much for attending this Business Acceleration Workshop with Gayle and Chip. It's really about relationship marketing and how it can power your bottom line and send your business to a whole new level. As I said earlier, I'm a real estate agent with Chestnut Park in Toronto. I've been a realtor for 4 years. When I started using SendOutCards 2 years ago, March, I had just sold a fairly high-end condo, and I had an empty pipeline. So that made me a little bit nervous about, where is the next business coming from? So I started using SendOutCards. At the time, I thought, well, what do I have to lose? And then, a few months later, the phone started ringing and business started coming in. And I realized that all of my referrals, about 6 months later, I had about $20 million worth of properties in my pipeline in 6 months. And I was like, wow. And the very next day, I got a call from someone who I had sent a card to thanking me. And she wants to sell and buy. And her 2 properties probably will total about $7 million. So that $20 million suddenly went to $27 million in 24 hours. This year, 2018, I have 19 referrals worth about over $26 million so far this year. And there was one that was kind of questionable whether it was SendOutCards, and then I went into the system to send a birthday card and realized that I had already been sending this person cards, so it all counts. One of the quotes that I particularly like from Bob Burr: people do business they know, like, and trust. And I'm going to add the caveat, if they remember you, because a lot of agents don't keep in touch. They lose track of clients. They get busy, hung up in the next transaction. And then a few years later, when those clients go to sell, they use somebody else. And the agent often gets upset, like, well, why didn't they call me? Well, they didn't call you because you didn't keep in touch with them. And the feeling is that you didn't care, so why should they care? And studies have shown this. NAR did a study, 88% of the people who purchased a home were satisfied or more than satisfied with their agent, but only 23% of them used that same agent when they sold just a few years later. Another interesting thing is most of the mail that we get, real physical mail, not email, is not personal. Studies have shown about 3% of the mail that we receive, only about 3% of the mail we receive is personal. So I get 5 or 6 pieces a day. So it would, out of 100 pieces for me to get 3 pieces of mail, I'd probably have to go about 2.5 weeks looking in my mailbox before I found, a few pieces of mail, which is kind of ridiculous. And so when something is there and is, people get excited. They've also done studies, even though we know we don't get much personal mail, they've done studies where people looking at the numbers of people that anticipate looking in the mailbox for personal mail, and that number is relatively high, not just among older people, but even among millennials. So I found that very interesting, that even though we don't get much mail, there are a lot of optimists out there that look forward to looking into the mailbox for the mail. So don't disappoint. So that's part of the reason that greeting cards have 100% open rate. Email newsletters average is about 15 to 20%. So if you're getting an open rate of 30, 35%, you're doing really well. But if you get what looks like a birthday card in the mail, you're going to open it. And much more so than, say, an email. All of us have been clients or customers before. All of us understand what it's like to be disappointed and unappreciated after a sale and walk away thinking, that service wasn't really the level that I would have expected. We have to think of our customers and our clients in the same way. So I've asked people, have you ever received a thank you note from your people you do business with? And this one particular person said, well, just you. And so I laughed. But I've also received thank you notes thanking me, but then in the next sentence, they're asking me to buy more business or refer them business, or, it's an ask. And I was like, well, how genuine is the thank you if on one hand they're thanking me and on the other hand they're saying, send me more business? So that's a bit self-serving. Don't do that. It doesn't make us feel very good. And then, of course, what if we ask these same questions of your clients? How often do you keep in touch? How often do you show gratitude, appreciation? Not just marketing, but relationship marketing. Emphasis on the relationship. Do you care? Someone asked me, how often in my cards do I ask for a referral? I thought about it. I said, well, rarely, if ever, but that doesn't mean the referrals don't come. It's really about celebrating the other people that you're sending the cards to. So if we asked your customers what would their response be, I think that's really important to try to wear their shoes. Look at yourself in the mirror and ask, how do you show appreciation to your customers? And when customers feel appreciated, surprise, surprise, they keep coming back. They keep telling their friends and telling others about you. Relationship marketing is about forming long-term relationships with customers rather than encouraging a one-time sale. It's about the relationship. It's not about marketing. Marketing is when you're advertising, you're saying, this is about me, I've won all these awards, I've been in business for X number of years, me. That's marketing. Relationship marketing is about them and celebrating them and what you can do for them. It's interesting that customers leave not because they didn't like a product, but because they don't feel appreciated or celebrated. SendOutCards has a system that builds relationships and can pay you to do so as well. You can be a customer, you can also be a referral partner and have it pay for itself. So as a realtor, we spend a lot of money on marketing. Very few, I can't think of any other marketing that I use that actually pays for itself. So you're building your current business, you're sharing your system with others. It's a win-win for everyone. I have a couple of stories about cards that I've sent. I had a client who I had shared with another agent, and all of our contact was through emails and emails and phone calls. And this one particular day, I went to her office, and I realized she's Greek, and I realized it was her Greek name day. Because I have friends who actually a friend with the same name, and I was aware of the concept. And so I said, isn't today your name day? And she said, it is. And I wished her well. And she looked at me shocked that I even knew. And I was annoyed with myself that I didn't send a card. But I thought, you know what? A card that's late is better than no card at all. So I went home. I looked up the Greek god for that name. In Greek letters, I said, happy name day. Hope you enjoyed your name day. I'm sorry this is belated. Very short, sweet, to the point. She called me thrilled, just absolutely thrilled. Where did you ever find a card like this? And not realize, no. That was a custom-made card just for you. That's not a card you'll find in the store. She was my first referral of 2018. It was New Year's Eve, so there's a little cheating there. It was closed for the holidays, so she called or emailed and said, can you help me look for a house for my daughter? She's a first-time buyer. By the end of January, we had bought a house for her, and I think they closed in March. So that was my first referral and transaction of 2018. I also send out campaigns. This is a New Year's campaign. I tend not to send Christmas cards unless they're very close friends, because not everyone celebrates Christmas, but everyone celebrates New Year's. And if I send a Christmas card, I might be one of the 22 cards that Gayle gets in her mailbox every day. But if I send a card for New Year's, January 2nd, 3rd, 4th, more than likely, I'm going to be the only card in that person's mailbox. So Happy New Year. The days are long, the years are short. 2018 is standing before us like a blank chapter in a book. May yours be full of exciting new adventures. What's on your bucket list? What will you cross out this year? Wishing you a happy, healthy New Year, and fun. Don't forget fun. So notice I'm really just celebrating them, taking a moment out to say, Happy New Year, I'm thinking of you. Of course, my branding is on the back of every card, so people that do want to get in touch, they've got my contact information. About 3 weeks after I sent this New Year's card, and I sent this out to about 250, let's say 250 people. And I got a call from a builder who I didn't know very well, hadn't seen or talked to him in a few months. And he said, can you help me find some properties for my next project? And so we're looking at properties now, and hopefully we'll have a closed transaction before the end of this year. Springtime, again, you want to celebrate others. I stopped by the house of an elderly woman and said, how are you? And she retorted back in kind of a grouchy mood, well, I'm not very well at all. I have trouble breathing and I have a weak heart. And how do you expect I am? I'm 97 years old. People think I'm fine because I look okay, but I'm really not. And so I listened to her for a few minutes and wished her well. And on the way down, I thought, back to my car, I thought, I'm going to do a card that's kind of uplifting, cheer her up. It was spring, technically on the calendar, but we still have cold weather in Toronto in late March. So I went home and I found some pictures from the garden and created this spring card. Spring spreading its charm, flowers will be opening their buds, and trees will be waking up, so there's hope. And of course my branding on the back. And when I got finished, I thought, well, why just send this to one person? There are a lot of people who probably appreciate this. So I sent this to about 115 people. And one of my former coworker texted me and said, I just loved your card. Thank you so much. It was the kind of cheery card that we need right now. I almost texted her back, but I thought, I'm going to pick up the phone. So I picked up the phone, called her. What are you doing tomorrow? Well, I wasn't doing anything. Next day was Easter. So she invited me to dinner. And during dinner, she mentioned that her niece and her husband were looking for a realtor, wanted to buy a house. So I said, well, I'd be happy to help them. Within about a week, 10 days, I had met the niece. 24 hours later, we were under contract with her house. And a few weeks later, we had their house up for sale, and we're now under contract on that house. So that's 2 transactions out of this card. And then the lending officer that the niece used referred me to a couple who want to sell their house for about $2 million. And then the niece introduced me to a coworker who wants to buy a condo. So there were 5 referrals that came out of this one card. So I'm beginning to like spring cards. And this is the card that I sent to that niece that referred me. The house on the front is their home that they were selling, and the house in the inside of the card is their new house they just purchased. So focus on the dream, not the journey. It's wonderful when people allow us into their lives to help them realize their dreams. And in this case, that's exactly what happened. I said, thank you for allowing me to help you achieve your dream. It's a very exciting time. Can't wait to see you settled and how you make it your own. All the best. Again, This is about them. It's thank you, celebrating them, and of course my branding on the back. And I'll pass it over to you, Gail.
Unmute myself there, and we'll get back into the PowerPoint. So like I mentioned before, thank you, Chip. First of all, thank you, Chip, for the stories that you share. They are inspiring to me to know that the power of a card that goes out, even in those campaign situations, you wanted to bless Dorothy, but then why not bless a bunch of people? And what you send out comes back, and I'm excited to see all the business that you're gaining from your use of SendOutCards. Again, my name is Gayle Zientek. I'm the broker owner of Network Team Homes Realty in Portage, Michigan. My husband and I opened this brokerage in 2006. I've been a realtor since 2012. I've been a realtor since 2004. My husband joined me in the business in 2006. We've been at 100% referral business since 2011. I was named the 2017 Realtor of the Year for the Greater Kalamazoo Association of Realtors. I train and coach referrals for a living. I'm a senior executive referral partner with SendOutCards. Like I mentioned, I've been around for about 11 years, and the 2018 SendOutCards runner-up referral partner of the year. I wanted to just share some of our accomplishments from 2017. Having been a referral-based business for the last 6 years, in 2017, my husband and I received upwards of 200 referrals. Now that turned into 50 closed homes at 100% referral business. And our goal this year is, as it is each year, is to close 50 plus homes a year by referral. Up to date right now, we have about 28 homes that have gone under contract. How and why I got started. I was a member of a BNI networking group back in 2006. In 2007, I attended a visitor's day, and about a week later, I received this card in the mail that said, "Nothing beats a great referral." And for those of you on the call or listening to the replay, remember the market, the real estate market between 2008 and 2011. It was rather dismal, and at the time we started using SendOutCards, our business was about 35% referral. So when I received this card in the mail and it said, "Nothing beats a great referral," you better believe I took notice. But it was the message on the inside that said, "Gail, it was really nice to meet you at the BNI networking event last week in Kalamazoo. I'd love to get together for a Starbucks to see how I can help you grow your business." And then he mentioned his family. He had pictures of his family in there, and it was a personal card. And I sat down and I called him and I said, "How did you do that card?" And, I sent a card to my husband, Steve. I came home, researched it. And when given the options to join, like Chip mentioned earlier, we joined as referral partners because I thought, wow, if I think this is a good idea, why would I not share this with others and get paid to do so? So during the 2008-2011 dismal real estate market, we paid attention to our sphere of influence and the people we call our top 100. And we grew our referral business from 35% to 100% and opened our own office in 2012, where we've been able to close 50 homes a year. I learned that consistency matters. Anything in life, when you're committed to it, the more conversations you have and the more consistency that you do things happen. So I want to share with you 2 habits.
Gail, would you mind if I just jumped in, if you back up to your previous slide?
Sure.
I apologize for that. Yesterday, I was listening to a video of Jared James, who's a real estate coach, and he quoted an interesting stat that got my attention. He said, 5 years ago, 69% of all real estate transactions were by referral. 5 years later, and of course at the time I thought, 69%, I guess that's a good number. I thought it might be higher, but 5 years later, that number, real estate transactions by referral, has dropped to less than 44%. So in that same 5 years, you've gone from 30% to 100%. I've gone from 0 to 100% in just a couple of years. So with SendOutCards, we're bucking the trend, and so that's really something to celebrate and acknowledge. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Thank you for chiming in, Chip. That statistic is, it, most people would think 44% referral business. Wow, that's cool. But when you get to that 100%, there's just nothing like it. And I'm going to just share a couple stories with you. Two card stories that really have caused me to be more committed and more consistent with my picture taking and my card sending. When I say level 4, what I'm talking about is, if you're level 1, you don't think about it, you don't do it. If you're level 2, you think about it, but you don't do it. If you're level 3, you're going to think about something and then you're going to do it. But level 4 is you don't think, you just do, because it becomes a habit and part of who you are and what you do every day in life. And so I learned from Cody Bateman, the chief visionary officer of SendOutCards, the founder, that it's important to become level 4 at using your smartphone. It's important to become level 4 at sending cards. So back in 2011, I was already a level 4 card sender and picture taker. I went to an event with my husband. It was called the Taste of the Chamber. And at the end of the day, this group, Park Street Market, won the Taste of the Chamber. And as it was my habit to take pictures, I grabbed these 2 photos. I went home that night and put it in a card. Today, I would have just sent it right there at the party, right from the ease of the app on my smartphone. But back then, I had my little Canon Sure Shot camera. I went home, created this card. What I didn't know when I sent this was that these people were going to become some of my closest friends and best customers of my entire real estate career. So let me share with you what happened. A week later, I got a call from the gentleman on the front, Kiar, who said, "Gayle, thank you so much for sending that card. That was awesome. My family and I were just moving here from the east side of the state, and we're looking to purchase homes. And I see you're a realtor. You see in the card, I didn't really promote who I am, except for to say that Steve and Gayle Zientek were the network team at Even Bohr Walton Realtors, and I had our phone numbers in there. This is before custom branding. So this is all he had, with a casual picture of my husband and I, but this is what it turned into. So we met with Kiar. He and his wife, Eva, purchased this home back in 2012. 12/12/12 was the closing date of this home. And then 2 years ago, they fixed it all up and they sold this home with us, and then they purchased a beautiful home for their family. But remember, Kiar said, my family and I are looking for homes. So over the course of the last 6 years, his brother bought a house, his sister and her husband purchased a home, and then they referred us to a couple moving from the east side of the state. Mom and dad purchased a home so they could be close to the kids, and Kiar referred us to his friend Kevin, who moved out of the area and back to Detroit. And this is a picture of the family. What happened was we've been able to sell 9 homes over the last 6 years to earn over $70,000 in commission. This is a picture of Zena and Douglas on their wedding day. This is a picture of them in March of 2017 closing on their first home. And so we've been able to keep in touch with this family over the course of time through sending cards, through our client events. My husband and I, we host 2 client events a year. Flower Fest is one of them. So May 5th of this year, we sent out invitations to invite people to come, and we sent about 144 invitations, and we usually have 40 to 50 people come to our client event. And at the end of the client event, I got a call from Zena, and she said, "Gayle, can we stop by and get flowers?" I said, "Zena, we're just closing up. How about I load some flowers up and bring them to you?" So that's a picture. Get comfortable doing selfies to celebrate your clients. Her mom, Julia, who is also a past client of ours, who bought a home to live over here close to the kids, posed for pictures. I got to hold and meet baby Catherine. Zena made some espresso, but then I turned and looked into the kitchen, and look what I see over there on the refrigerator. And I even said to her, I said, "Zena, you have my cards on the top of your refrigerators." And she said, "Gayle, we love getting your cards." And that wedding card was 3 years ago. The other card was over a year ago when they purchased their home, and then the home anniversary card is up there as well. So look at what they see every time they go to the refrigerator. They're seeing Steve and Gayle, or they're thinking good thoughts about Steve and Gayle. So now I'm going to share with you. So that was $70,000, 9 homes over the course of 6 years from one unexpected card that went out celebrating an event. I'm going to share with you the value of one referral partner. I mentioned we were in BNI. This is Brooks. We met her in our BNI chapter. She was the branch manager of PNC, and her husband hired us to sell their home and purchase a new one. Brooks moved up in life. She became a financial advisor. She is now our financial advisor, and she's extremely well connected throughout the community. You know, people trust their financial advisors, right? So if they make a recommendation, it usually comes highly acclaimed. So over the course of the last, 8 years, excuse me, our relationship with Brooks, through her family, her friends, her coworkers, we've been able to receive 10 referrals. Each referral is worth $5,555. And Brooks is worth $8,333 a year to us. And I want you to think about that. If you had 30 Brookses in your life that were worth $8,000 a year, would it make business grand for you? Well, Brooks also attended our flower fest. She brought her mother-in-law and her sister-in-law, picked up some flowers. And you're going to see that picture of Lori. Lori works with Brooks. 2 of those transactions on the previous slide were from Lori and her husband, Pete. We have closed 2 of those transactions. We are currently working with Lori to help her mom get her home sold. So you see how the referrals just keep pouring in and pouring in and pouring in. And I just want you to know, you too can attract referrals in 2018 as long as you make relationships an important part of your daily habits and your business. Remembering that consistent actions equal consistent results. And I'm going to just stop the screen share for just a second before I turn it back over to Chip. And I want to just share with you more value from client events and how we use SendOutCards. So 3 years ago, this couple right here closed on their home. This was a property that they built over the course of 39 years. And I sent this card to them, Roger and Elizabeth, May 6th of 2015. When I create cool cards, I sometimes send them to myself too, as an example. But here's the story around this, because I sent Roger and Elizabeth a card to come to Flower Fest. She called me and said she was not able to attend Flower Fest, but could Kent and Jane pick up flowers for her? Now, Kent and Jane are the 2 people that referred them to us. So, of course, Kent and Jane came to Flower Fest, took home 2 flowers. But here's what Elizabeth said. She says, Gayle, we're old. They bought a condo. She says, we're old. We're never going to sell again. But you know what? This card sits on our mantle. And every time someone comes into our home, Roger goes over and picks up the card and tells everybody about you. So she says, even though we're old and won't sell, we got big mouths and we're going to tell people about you. And then I loved getting this card from Elizabeth. And I just want to read it to you, because this is what happens. You get thank you cards for the cards that you send. But she said, Dear Gayle and Steve, want to thank you for the beautiful hanging plant. We love it. Brigham's did a good job of picking it out, just the right one for us. Love your picture cards. They are always interesting and beautiful. Happy Mother's Day, Gayle. Relax and enjoy. Thanks again. Fondly, Elizabeth and Roger. So the power that we have when we send cards is what we also get back in the receiving end. So I'm going to go ahead and share the screen back. I'm going to turn it over to Chip, and he's going to share with you. Well, let me find the PowerPoint. Chip, I always do this. I lose it. Oh, here it is. I'm going to turn it back over to Chip, and he's going to explain a little bit more about what SendOutCards is, how you can use it. He's going to demo it. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to either one of us at the end of this program. Go for it, Chip.
That's great. Thank you very much, Gayle. I love the stories about the relationships. I have a couple of stories like that myself. I have a woman who's a friend, and I used her in one of my advertising campaigns. She's 95 years old, and a friend said, "Well, does she have a house to sell?" And I said, "No, no, she's living in an apartment." But she called me from her retirement residence one night and said, "Friends of mine are here looking at the retirement home, having dinner with their daughter. Here's their contact information. Make sure you tell them that I called you. I told you to call them, and connect with them. So they'd be a good people for you." So of course I thanked her and made that connection. I have another similar story. I sent a letter to a condo that I farmed. I guess it must have been about 2.5 years ago now, probably predated SendOutCards. And this man responded to my letter with an email telling me that he wasn't ready to sell quite yet, but that he was getting old and he was going to need to move on. So of course I called him, and he said, "No, I have too much stuff to go through. I've lived here for 30 years. I worked in theater, and I've got theater cards and playbills and things I need to kind of clear." So about 6 months later, I called him back, and he said, "Oh, it's so nice to hear from you. But I've been traveling." He goes on 2 or 3 cruises a year, and I've hardly been home, so I haven't had time to do any of that stuff. So about 6 months later, now we're about a year, I sent him a send-out card with a picture of his condo on the front and said, "I've recently sold a condo in your building. It's the same model for a record price, and it was very quickly sold, and I've leased a couple of units as well. So when you're ready, or if you are ready, I've thought any more about selling, let me know." And of course, every email he sends, they're quite hilarious. He's got an excellent sense of humor. And he went on to say that he was going to be 80 in a year or so, and that when he turned 80, he would more than likely sell and move on to retirement residence where he'd spend the next 50 years. Last year, in the fall, again, like a year later, I dropped by with a pumpkin as a pop-by and dropped that off for him, and then Christmas time. But I've kept in touch with SendOutCards, and I always get delightful emails back. And after one of my cards, he emailed me and said, "I would love for you to a drink, have a glass of wine and meet," because I had never met this man. A couple of years had gone by. So yesterday we had wine and cheese. I went to his place. He turned 80 about 10 days, and I had sent him a birthday card, and he was surprised I remembered. He said, "I don't know how you knew that I was 40 times 2, but I appreciated the card and the brownies." And so anyway, I went and met him yesterday, and he was quite upfront in his email, saying that he really wasn't ready to sell, even though he's 80, and he thought he would be. And I said, "That's fine. When you will know when you're ready. It's really about meeting you and making the connection." So I went. We had a delightful afternoon. I was there a couple of hours. We had wine and cheese and lots of stories about his travels, because he's quite well traveled. And then brought up the fact that he said he wasn't ready to sell, but he said, "You were in my files with instructions. If anything happens, they will get in touch with you. I'm doing a new will." And I was quite taken aback. But that just shows you the level of relationship that can build through SendOutCards. So I just think it's quite amazing. Anyway, you can build a card using your laptop. And I often, because I'm on my laptop so much as a realtor, I often use a laptop for my cards. You can also use your iPhone or your Android device, which is quite handy to do as well. On the go, snap a picture, do a card. In fact, some people will, you can sit in their car in the driveway of someone's home, take a picture of their house, do the card right in your car, and have it sent before you even leave their driveway. It's quite convenient. Sometimes when you think, well, I'll do it later, later doesn't happen. I'm going to phone and with you, and oops.
This is the fun part where we get the live
Yeah,
demo.
that's right. Let me just go
Do
back
you,
here.
do you
It's
need
here
any help?
somewhere.
Here, I'm gonna,
Stop. Let me just stop the share again, and I'll start it again. I think I chose the wrong thing. Let me go back. Stop the share. For some reason, it's not. Try that one more time. I am plugged in.
sometimes it gets a little delayed. So thank you for your patience, guys. Hope you're
Yes.
enjoying the webinar and all the information. Chip, what I love about what we share is the stories continue to evolve over time, just like the Kiara story, just like the Brooks story. As long as you're consistent in doing things, your business will continue to evolve and those referrals will continue to come, because it's really all about being intentional with not the whole world, but the people who already know, like, and trust you. And they know who you are, they know what you do, they know how to find you, and they trust you. They're going to refer business. And that's a powerful story that gentleman shared, that you are in, like, he's changing his will, and your contact information is there. And that's a testament to 2 years, because you didn't give up, you stayed with it for 2 years, and you're allowing for the relationship to unfold. See, my mentor, Jordan Aller, says never quit on a bad day. So, if you decide you're just going to quit and not do something because you're not getting the results you want, it's just that you haven't had enough time on task. Your skill set needs to develop, and through experimentation of making it happen, it's going to work. So, is it not working, Mr. Chip?
Let me. For some reason, it doesn't seem to want to work.
Well, let's go over let's go over the different packages, and
Sure.
if we can get that to come back, then we can certainly try again at the end. But let's let people know what their how they can join SendOutCards. And I'm going to go ahead and share this screen. We'll go back to the play and take us on out.
Okay. If you can control that, would be okay. There are 4 of subscription with SendOutCards. The basic membership is free. Everyone loves free. Why not join and just pay for the cards you send? A standard card is $2.75. If you send a group of 20 or more, you're going to save, and they're $2.25. Of course, postage is on top of that. Anytime you send a card, postage. That includes the catalog cards, and you can build your own, a little bit more expensive. So figure on about $3 a card.
I'm not. Okay, Chip, you're breaking up a little, and I don't know if it's on the internet on your end or if it's the internet on my end.
Okay.
So go ahead. I just wanted to stop
Yes.
you, pause for a second. So go ahead with the enhanced.
For $17 a month, you pay a little bit less for your card, and you also get 15% discount on gifts like cookies and brownies. You have unlimited access to the relationship manager, which is a CRM. So $17 a month. A lot of companies, charge $25 or $50 a month just for the CRM, and you can do campaigns with the enhanced version. $97 a month, unlimited card. You send it to somebody. Not only free, which is included.
Hey, Chip.
Yes.
Can you hear me okay in here? Because through that $97 a month premium subscription, you were breaking up quite a bit. So I just want to make sure if you can hear me, I'll take over and just explain the last 2 packages. Or maybe it's the internet connection altogether. So I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to just explain the premium packages, the unlimited single card sends, including postage. And what that means is you can create, like the cards that Chip and I were talking about to send out to individuals. You can, go through social media and find opportunities to celebrate people who are getting married, having babies, adopting new pets, children, buying new homes. Unlimited single card sends included the postage. $1.75 for any additional standard card after, and this applies to the group sends, and you're going to see in the next package, I'm going to talk a little bit more about the group sends. You get a 30% discount on gifts. It includes all card types, so postcard, flat card, 2-panel card, 3-panel card, and a little bit of an upcharge, $1.50 upcharge if you're going to send big cards. You get premium storage and loyalty rewards. What loyalty rewards are is the ability, there's 10 cards a month that you can send. Like, let's say you wanted to send a birthday invitation to somebody and you had 10 people that you wanted to send that to. You could send 10 cards for just the cost of the postage. Okay, maybe it's my internet connection. So I'm gonna kind of go to let's see, Nancy. Nancy, are you there? I've allowed you to talk, Nancy, because I wanted to see if can you guys hear me? I'm not sure. So okay, I'm not sure. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to finish off with the 147 enterprise package. It's an unlimited single card sends, including.
Yes.
Okay, you can hear me?
Yes.
Have you been able to hear me?
I can hear you, Gail.
Okay, good. So let's see. I'll just go ahead and push play with this just to see. We had a little delay there and it wasn't working. So the enterprise package, unlimited single card sends, which includes the stamp, 30% discount on your gifts. Now, Chip and I both mentioned that we send groups of cards. I sent 144 Flower Fest cards. So 100 of those cards that I sent out were included in the 147. All I had to do was pay postage, and then I paid $1.75 plus postage, or $2.25 for the 44 cards beyond that. This has been an amazing, time-saving, effective, economical way for me to be able to run my business, send cards, and have the business that we have today. So, Chip, is there anything that you want to add as we close out today's webinar? And sorry for some of the technical issues that we've had, but I guess that's what we have to deal with in technology.
That's right. No, it's just technology. No, I just be happy to show anyone how it's done, either live or through a recorded demonstration. Very easy, usually from your phone or your laptop. I can do a card in less than a minute. Boom, 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 done. And people really appreciate getting those cards.
Sorry, Nancy. I promoted you to panelist by accident, so welcome to the broadcast today. But anyway, if you want to get more information, like Chip said, just feel free to reach out to either one of us, and we'll be happy to answer your questions. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and say goodbye. Nancy, it's good to see you. Thanks for coming in on the end of the broadcast. And you guys, happy sending. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you very much.